this Ecuadorian river exists one reality, death. Adorned with tradition and mysticism, this single event ends in drunkenness, their only escape. Centuries have changed their ways only slightly. With little hope, they face life through fatalistic eyes. Their bodies infected with an unknown disease, they relinquished their future to chance and fate. In 1976, Dr. Ron Guderian, a clinical pathologist and evangelical missionary, led a medical caravan up the river from the Pacific Ocean. He came from the capital of Ecuador, Quito, and represented an extension of Bozandi's hospital. Together with other medical staff, they treated these river people. Their base camp was always in Sapayo Grande, or Big Squash, where Missionary Church had established a station. Here in the rainforest community, he treated his patients, Chachi tribal people and Afro-Hispanics who inhabit the great Santiago and Cayapa river systems. Their canoe has traveled many hours. She waits her turn. She does not know his name. She will not look at him. Women are not allowed to see strange men. She wonders if he knows the spirit that makes her skin itch. Ron talks to the man. He observes the roundness of the bump and its hardness and mobility. He's certain he knows the cause. For a decade, he has been studying a rare disease known only in Africa and Central America. Under local anesthesia, each nodule is gently removed for careful study. Inside each ball grows a worm with a giant uterus. Every day, tens of thousands of larvae are born moving throughout the body tissue. Removing the worm will stop reproduction, and treatment of the disease can begin.
There's another one in here as well. Yeah. But there's another bit in this. It looks as though there's another small piece in here.
In a small lab, a specialist from the London School of Tropical Medicine dissects each nodule. Many have multiple worms that must carefully be untangled and preserved for future study. Laboratories in London and Michigan continue research to determine the nature of the creature. The worm is known as Onchocerca volvulus. Medically, this disease is known as onchocerciasis, or river blindness. It is not fatal, but causes disfigurement and the terrible itching of the skin. But by far the most dreadful complications of onchocerciasis are in the eyes. Since the larva can move through the body tissues, some eventually lodge in the retina and can cause blindness. The steps in acquiring this disease have been known for years. Its treatment has been elusive. In the early morning and late afternoons, small black flies swarm near the riverbanks. They are contaminated from feeding on infected people whose ancestors brought the disease from other continents. As the fly bites, larvae enter the bite wound and take residence in the subcutaneous tissue, which causes the initial itching. There they mate and produce hundreds of thousands of offspring. The growth and molting of the worms underneath the skin causes the formation of fibrous nodules. Under commission by the Ecuadorian government, Dr. Ron has conducted his research under ideal conditions. What he didn't know was how God had planned to use this disease to reach this small corner of Ecuador.
Y también hay aquí una rasquiña, no la quito, yo sé, porque la semana pasada me cogió.
His first discovery was that the disease was in its initial stages of development. This allowed for a basic study to determine the natural pattern of pathology in the eye. These studies will be vital to discover an appropriate treatment in preventing blindness. Secondly, there is a known racial factor involved in the expression of the disease. Two forms of river blindness are recognized as the Central American form and the African form. Since the rivers are inhabited by two distinct cultures, Chachi Indians and Afro-Hispanics, it was discovered that the black Ecuadorians had the African strain and the Indians the Central American or Caucasian form. With these two cultures living together, Dr. Guderian had the ideal situation to learn more about the disease than any other location in the world. But a third blessing was even more astounding. From Germany, the Christoffel Blinden Mission sent specially trained personnel and funds to help meet this opportunity and provide the needed eye care.
I'm checking with a slit lamp once more. That's a slit lamp that doesn't magnify like the other one, but it has one that lets you see very well the lens. And I'm checking if there's
to complement this team, other organizations such as the London School of Tropical Medicine, the World Health Organization, and the Ecuadorian Ministry of Health joined forces. With every new discovery, they move closer to eradicating this disease. But an even greater conflict exists in the spiritual realm. Superstition and fear abound through the jungle. Death and abandonment seem the only peaceful solutions to a fear of the unknown. So the treatment of a physical problem has brought new hope that these missionaries and associates can share their faith about God. Villages are now opening to the gospel. People want to know what the Word of God has to say. If God cares enough for their physical condition, then he must want to speak to the soul. Chachi Indians that used to flee before strangers now gladly welcome them to their home. Fear is replaced with faith, a faith that God has a purpose for their lives.
Ango, quítalo. Ango, Samilisha. Dice,
During the past decade, since this disease was discovered, some amazing transitions became apparent. For centuries, the Chachis have controlled the lands by the rivers. But as blacks moved up from the Pacific coast, the Indians abandoned their homes, moving further inland. Resentment and fear have characterized the survival of these two groups. But when they both realized a common problem, like onchocerciasis, they shared something for the first time, a realization that only by working together would a cure be found. The more contact experienced, the easier it became for mutual respect and understanding. A Center for Health Care was built. Students from Azusa Pacific University arrived to help the community build an airstrip. Mission Aviation Fellowship initiated a flight program specifically directed to providing transportation of medical personnel and patients. Seattle Pacific University and Wheaton College sent students to help with the inquest. Communities that were reticent responded for checkups and research. Michigan State University established a laboratory exclusively for the study of the worm. Their studies of the physiological and biological traits will give the key to know how to kill the worm. The pharmaceutical company, Ciba Geigy, funded a research project to determine the correct treatment. Coordinating all foreign endeavors, the Central University in Quito has offered the umbrella necessary to research and treat the disease. All of these activities have caused the river dwellers to grow in appreciation of how others from various cultural backgrounds are now working together on their behalf.
Grade 2, grade 3 dehydration.
Another positive change came through treating all of the sick. No patient was turned away. Many arrived with diseases such as malaria and leishmaniasis. These are two other major tropical diseases of the world. People have become more hygienic as they realize that eating and sleeping habits contribute to their general health. Dental work followed to alleviate chronic tooth decay and abscesses. As a result, these river dwellers enjoy the best health standards in the entire region. The rule of the river is, if one doesn't work, then one doesn't eat. For Teodofilo, life became a matter of survival. His eyes quickly dimmed as filarial worms destroyed the retinas. Losing his eyes on the river meant certain death. He arrived at the treatment center too late to save his eyes, but the staff encouraged him to find what he could do. More than this, his family realized that he was not helpless. He still sharpens his machete and cuts the grass around his house. He can tell the time on a watch given as a gift. But the greatest freedom he feels came from new sight in his soul. The answers he always longed for are at his fingertips. A foundation called Bible Alliance donated a hand-cranked cassette player and tapes of the Bible in his language. Now there is no fear, only hope. There are some 200,000 river dwellers in Ecuador. Already 80% are contaminated and need immediate help. The door is open now to reach these people while there is still time. Ron and his staff are committed to provide every man, woman, and child in northern Ecuador the opportunity to hear and see the gospel of Jesus Christ through their health care. Their goal is to give them that opportunity to become followers of Christ and responsible members of his church. They plan to complete this endeavor by the year 2000. With your help, this river basin can be reached. Faith that sees has no limits. Seeing Jesus Christ will give them that hope.
If not in you, I wonder where will they ever see the one who really cares. If not from you, how will they find there's one who heals the broken heart, gives sight to the blind? 'Cause you're the only Jesus some will ever see, and you're the only words of life some will ever read. So let them see in you the one in whom is all they'll ever need. 'Cause you're the only Jesus some will ever see. And if not you, I wonder who show them love and love